Hey Tone Freaks, welcome to Questones, your questions answered. So, this is the question and answer portion that I've always wanted to do but never got the time to doing it, or just the want to doing it. But I have a lot of questions in my comment sections in my videos, so I'd like to address them on this episode. And maybe I'll do this every week or maybe every month. Whichever is more convenient for me. Right, because being on YouTube, it's not really a business. So anyway, yeah. First, so this dates back like a few years ago, I think. All right, a few years ago, I did comparison between two guitar pedals. That's the RC Booster by Exotic Effects and the TC Spark Booster. And someone commented, "Hi, the author commented, hi, in terms of compression, which one do you think compresses more?" Yeah, the TC Electronic Spark Booster versus the RC Booster. For in my ears, the RC Booster has better compression. I mean, they both compress, but the RC Booster just makes it sound creamier than the TC Booster. The TC Booster has also a compression, but it's not as sweet sounding as the RC Booster in terms of compression. The TC Booster though, the Spark Booster though, has more spark, more sparkle. It has a brighter top end. It also has a lot of options because of those switches there. So I hope that answers your question, the author. Thank you for your question. The next one. This one is from my video for the Hi-Fi Man Sundara. Okay. All right, so Randy Kimpo asks, interesting thing, so you can actually do a final mix master on these headphones. I was always of the opinion that you still need to do your final mix on speakers, but I'm happy to be proven wrong. By the way, I'd like to hear your opinion of these versus the ATH M70X you used to use. Hi Randy, thanks for your question. First of all, yes, I've done mixing and mastering on these cans, the Hi-Fi Man Sundaras. They are very linear to my ears, very transparent, very flat to my ears. And I've had great results with these. Sometimes I don't even check on my Focal Shapes 65s anymore. But I only do that when I'm out of town, when I'm on location, on the go, where I can't be in the studio. Because if I'm in the studio, of course I'd have the reference on the speakers. But when you don't have a choice, the Sundaras will do you good, to me. So you should take note of that. And also, for your second question, how do they compare to the ATH M70X? I love the ATH 70X's top end. Very, very crisp sounding, very detailed on the top end, so easy to mix the treble side. But when it comes to the low end, very complex. It has a very complex low end, but it lacks that extended bottom where you can feel the oomph, the slam of the low end. You can hear the extended bottom, you can hear it, but you can't really feel it. So that's something you should consider. I mean, I've been mixing and mastering on the ATH M70Xs for so long. I've been so used to it. But when I shifted to Sundaras, I'm appreciating the more neutral nature of the Sundaras. And also, I also have the Sony MDRs to just cross-check for regular listening. I also have the PreSonus HD7s for cross-checking as well. So in my headphones category, I have like 4 headphones for doing the cross-checks. But I do it all on the Sundaras, and then cross-check on the other headphones. Also cross-check on the Bluetooth speaker, and of course, the focals. I hope I answered your question, Randy. Thanks. All right, another question is from, hold on. All right, more of a comment. Okay, Mr. Manu Mendez commented about my video on the Nero. Great video about the controller, but some things you haven't mentioned and maybe interesting for some users, and some of them make the controller outstanding, like the routing options with smart touch points. The routing of TalkBack you mentioned is just for default. For sure, you can route the inputs and the TalkBack individually to every HP out, also including HP1. That HP1 just follows the input selection for the control room. So basically, he's saying that I didn't do a very good review on the Nero because I didn't touch on the routing options and the smart touch points. Yes, thank you, Mr. Manu Mendez, for that. I'm gonna do a follow-up review on the Nero, which is sitting right here on my desk. I'm going to touch on the touch points and the routing options because, of course, they're very important as well. But for me, I'm just using it as a controller and headphone amp and source selector. So, and mid-side polarity. I'm not even sure if it's mid-side, but yeah, you mentioned that it's mid-side. So yeah, we'll see. Yeah, let me just dive into it more and I'll make a better video on it. Thanks for your comment. All right. This comment is for the PreSonus special that I did, the PreSonus feature. All right. So, all right. First, it's a comment about because every time I do a review, I always don't care about the specs. Of course, they're important, but I always after reading all the specs, I try it out. Okay, and it doesn't matter. Sometimes a spec sheet says this goes here, this does this, but when you try it out, hey, that doesn't do that. It's not accurate, you know, because sometimes on the spec sheets, it's just marketing or whatever. So George T commented, sorry, but the specs are important, especially ohms. This helps you figure out how to power your headphones. Very good comment, Sir George T. Yes, of course. Powering headphones, like the resistance of the headphones or the ohms reading per headphones, you really need to know how they're resisting sound. So you can, because that determines what kind of headphone amp you need to buy, or if let's say if you buy a 600 ohm headphones and you don't have any headphone amp, so that's like a no-no, right? Like you're just using your computer audio or your computer headphone out and you have 600 ohms headphones, and that's just no, that's so basic. And yes, I didn't mention that, but I was assuming that people who were on the hunt for headphones know about stuff like that. So thank you for your comment, but yeah, I'll mention that next time. Okay, also on the same video, are HD7s good for mixing trap music, especially the low-end frequencies? Are they giving clear, real sound? This is from Telegram. Okay. Clear sound, my answer was clear sound, yes. For mixing, you will have to get used to them first. All right, so when mixing using headphones and you're mixing what? Trap music or bass-heavy music, for me, the HD7s will give you enough bass, really. You just have to get used to the semi-open back nature of the HD7s because they have a sound stage, and the sound stage sometimes takes away some of that bass. Like for me, I experience better bass with closed back headphones. There's a more forwardness to the bass response on closed back headphones rather than semi-open and open back headphones. So better be sure you get used to it first. Try it first. It's so hard to buy something, especially headphones or speakers, that you haven't tried before. All right. So that's the answer to that. Thanks, guys. Thank you, Telegram. Okay. And another one. Another comment on that. Technical mumbo jumbo. Precisely what we got to school and learned in the industry. All right. Okay. So, okay, a lot of people are commenting, posting some comments on my video on the PreSonus feature where I was like, let's just skip the technical mumbo jumbo and go straight to the sound quality. So yeah, I mean, of course, we care about all that stuff, but you know, when it comes to buying something, the first thing you have to, especially in audio, the first thing you are going to gravitate to is how they sound and how they perform. It doesn't matter what's in there, what they write about. You know, it doesn't matter if it says this goes up to 130 dB. This is 127 dB dynamic range. All right, fine, but how does it sound, right? So that's just me, you know. I mean, I read the spec sheet, but before I buy anything, that has no bearing for me. You know, that spec sheet. Wow, this is so awesome. Great. 100 dB, you got 75 dB of preamp gain. You have, you know, the frequency response of 5 hertz to 45 kilohertz or whatever. But when you put on those headphones or play that mic or test that mic or that preamp and then it doesn't sound good to you, see, and will you still buy it? No, of course not, right? Even though it says it's a perfect piece of gear, still, you're not gonna buy it. And a perfect example is an interface I came across with, and it boasted a lot of stuff like this, that, dynamic range, something dB on the outputs, right? And I compare it to one of my interfaces, and this interface, what I compare it with, this has this reading of decibels, this reading of dynamic range, and whatever and whatnot. And then when you compare the two, the interface what I was using was even louder, even if the other interface read 120 dB on output, and this one just read 116 dB on the output. So what does that tell me? That tells me sometimes they just hype things up on the technical specs, right? So always test everything audio. Test, get opinion from reviewers, but I don't get opinion from paid reviews or from, you know, the very popular channels. I try to get reviews from the grounded channels where people are just using the stuff, right, that are not sent to them. Okay, like me, nothing is being sent to me. I buy everything here. So when I review something, you can be sure that it's good for me, for my use, right? So if I get rid of a warm audio preamp in my studio, it just means that I want something better, right? If I change my interface, it just means that I think this is better than the other. If I upgraded my headphones, yeah, I think this is better than this. So decide with your ears, decide with how you're gonna work with it. All right. Okay, guys. I think that covers our episode today for questions. Your questions answered. Please write me or just comment on my videos, and I'll see what I can do if I can answer your questions. Thank you so much. This is Marco De Leon from ToneQuest at the Mix Machine Studio. See you soon.